And as you're being seated, we'd like to once again welcome all the indigenous people, the indigenous leaders from around the world. If you're representing one of our indigenous relatives throughout Grandmother Earth, please rise as we welcome you here. Let's give them all a round of applause, all of our leaders from the indigenous nations across the world. We say welcome to the Sápa Makoche Paha Sápa Black Hills. Thank you for joining us. And at this time, friends and relatives, I'd like to introduce to you Koda here from the Oglala Lakota Nation, Emmanuel Blackbear, who we're going to ask him to share a little bit about the teachings of the chanchega, of the drum, of, my late grandfather. He brought me up teaching me as a singer the different songs for our people, the importance of this drum, the creation, on how the drum came to our people and the songs. And as you heard already, that Emmanuel and the Creekside Singers know the appropriate songs. They understand the songs for all the occasions for our people. And I've seen Koda Emmanuel here be invited in many occasions to share songs and teachings and to help the people. And as a singer, we are taught that it's a difficult life to live, because you have to sacrifice time away from your family. A lot of times, it's a difficult transition when you travel to communities. You help families when they bury their relatives, for ceremonies, for honorings, and you don't get a lot in return except for the handshakes, the hugs, the love, the appreciation, and food and other things that people want you to live. And so with that, let's give a warm welcome to Emmanuel Blackbear and the Creekside Singers as they share a little bit about their drum and the teachings of our people.
Hau me tā kia pē. Lek tā te kile na iu ha chante waste na pe chūza pelo. Ole au upi. E macha pe. Toka wa tak pe tiospa na matosa pa tiwahe e mataha. Good evening. It's good to be here. It's good to be able to talk about what we do and to share a little about what we learned throughout our life, our travels, our journey with our drum. Like I said, I come from the Blackbear family, the Mested family from Pine Ridge, South Dakota, Allen. Well, from the whole Oglala Res, I guess. But first of all, growing up, I've been around this drum most of my life now. And the teachings, some of the things that it took on our journey to where we are now, goes all the way back to learning our foundation of life. And what is that? And for different people, it's different things. For us, our history, our language, our culture, our songs, our belief in kinship. And today, that belief in kinship, we're losing that. We need to bring that back a little bit more and talking about our family tree, knowing where we come from, who we're related to, and things like that. So that was our, things that we learned, started off with our drum. And a lot of people think that we started off with song, but a lot of times our stories that they shared was about those things. To make it important as to what we're doing, what we're gonna do in our road, and all the trials and tribulations that it takes to do what we're doing, we had a choice. From the beginning, when I first sat down around the drum, I had a choice. And I always make sure I know that. And as a young guy, They taught me a lot of songs, ceremony, social, history, and those kinds of things. And as I learned those songs, at one point, they took a pause with me where I was going down the ceremonial road of songs. And my mentor, my uncle, our teacher, he told me we came to a point and he said, he sat me down. We sat under his shade and he sat me down and he said, at this time, Toshka, I'm going to tell you some things and you have some time to think about it. And he said, this road that you're going down, this ceremonial road of songs, you're at a juncture here where you're going to have to make a choice. Just like that tree, there's a fork in this road that you come across. You can go this way or you can go that way. And that's your choice. But there's a but in there. I want you to understand that if you go on this road, your life will never be yours. It's going to really be hard to be a family man. It's going to really be hard to live in today's world. Because that ceremony, once you start down that road, there's no turning back. They're going to always depend on you for that. And so you're going to have to sacrifice maybe even a family sometimes because you're going to be gone a lot. And then you still have this other road to go on. But you think about it, he told me. And so I was a teenager at the time. And I thought about it long and hard. And, he wanted me to think about it. I was a teenager. I didn't really want to think about such serious things, but he made me think about it. So I told him, sometime later, I said, Uncle, I might want to have a family. Um, so I think I'm going to decline. I don't want to go down that road. So he said, oh, huh. Good. It's good that you thought about it. And so that was one of my first lessons. And I still took part in Sundance and Inipi and other things like that. But those ceremonies, the UEP and Hamblecha and those kinds of things, he didn't take me on those anymore. So he protected me. And that's something that I share with my young guys. I got young guys coming tomorrow, and I share those things with them. Make sure you can really commit to that. Because it was really important when I was young, the songs were really important. There's a song that belongs somewhere and only there. Today, we have Sundance songs that are being shared everywhere. But where do they belong? They belong at the Sundance. We have to remember that. We have Inipi songs that are being shared everywhere. Where do they belong? At the Inipi. So those are some things that while I was young, they shared, they made sure that we did those things. And if it was the wrong song, they would stop us. And back then, there's a lot of elders back then that would do that. We don't do that anymore. So learning those types of songs, I keep them here. He just mentioned I come from powwow just today. And so getting my mindset into what's going on here this week, there's a lot of songs. There's so many songs. Well, chief songs, just like what you heard, gathering songs. Now they have a treaty song that Marty Maxfield made for him, made that song. So we learn songs that belong at certain places. So we try to keep them there. And all these songs we just got done singing, we didn't sing those at the powwow because they don't belong over there. So growing up, I had strict but gentle teachers. So we follow those protocol when we do those things, and we also have traditional game songs, hand games, moccasin game, even takapsi chana. I think they say takapsi chapi in Sisseton. But even that game, there's songs to it. So learning those songs and having fun. I love hand game. I play it as much as I can. I just played in Rosebud too. I didn't enter the tournament, but just played a game, and of course I won. This is my story, so I can say I won. I don't think any of you were there, so that's my story, and I'm gonna stick to it. Hey, but there's a lot of stories that go along with the songs also, and I'm also I teach hand games. I teach some culture and singing. So I try to remember the stories that go along with them. And there's some of the stories, um, there's ceremonies in those songs. So I always try to talk about different things like that with our songs of traditional game, just so our young ones will understand. So I'm going to try to remember this story real quick, and I'm going to share the song that goes with it. Long time ago, there was a young man. He just, um, he had a young wife, but he was still proving himself. So he joined a war party, and they went on a war journey. And while they were out, his young lady was at home with her female relatives preparing for their return. And they got word, they sent word back to the camp that the war party was coming back. They were victorious, but they lost one. So they went out there. The women went out there. There's a dance today, the Ipsiwachi. They went out there to wait for them to come back. And there's a song that they share. Ho Yesu ya ye, ho Yesu ya ye, ho Yesu ya ye, doksha ya gle hone ke ha, higna chik de ya he ya ha yo. So they were dancing, and one by one, they were coming back to camp. The women would ride in with back to camp with them. And so this young lady was standing there waiting. And finally, the last one came. They were leading a horse. It was the young man that lost his life. So the young lady started to mourn. She cut her hair right there on the spot. And they took her back into camp, the horse, and they acknowledged him. So she went back to her teepee, and she took everything out. She took her teepee down, put it out there. She gave away everything. Everything. All she had was her clothing. So she moved to the edge of camp. And so she lived like that for a while. Her sister would go out there once in a while and feed her, take her food, and be with her. It started coming time to getting close to when it was going to snow. So she was worried about her sister. So she went back to her lodge and told her husband and asked him to consider taking her in. So he took some time and he finally took her in. And he happened to be the war leader for a society. Well, back then, taking her in, there was a lot of responsibility. He had to provide for her, protect her and feed, bring back more food. So it took a lot of thought. So she stayed with them for a while. Pretty soon the snow came. And so back then they used to play hand game in the winter time over a campfire. Societies used to play against each other. So one evening they were playing this game. If you can imagine it, society on this side, society on that side, campfire going. And they were playing. The game was going back and forth, back and forth. It's a long time. Finally, this war leader got the bones back. So he started looking around. He looked in the back, the edge of the camp. He looked all over on this side. He wanted to win. They had a lot of things. They put down, bet a lot of things on the ground. So on the edge of the fire, the light, he saw somebody there. They had a buffalo robe on, standing there. So he took the bones over there, gave them to them, and they started playing. And this other team, they couldn't guess that one. Kept missing. Eventually, she won all the sticks, and they won the game. The society was so happy, they gave her all those things that were bet down here. Give her everything. And they played again. Okay, they bet again. They bet all these things. Here she won again. And they gave her all of those. Because back then, those were bragging rights back then, when they played that game. So they made a song for her. Goes like this. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, ah, hey, we ah, oh, how we oh, ay, ay, ah, hey, ah, yeah, oh, hey, ay, oh, oh, how we oh, where was it, Chata, Kuka, Henamita, why, oh, I we oh, ay, 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 oh, way, way, oh, ah, we, way, oh, hey, way, oh, ah, we, ay, where was it? Chata kuka and a mita wayalo. Ah, we ah, and that song is called the Widow's Song, and it belongs to Hampa Pechu, or we call it also hand game. So as a singer, growing up, we used to play this game, and I loved singing. I loved it, no matter what song it was. I grew up with a need to be around the drum, to learn as much as I could. And it comes with great responsibility. I have to walk in this way. And walking in that way, my mentors, if you know them, is really hard today. But my love for singing, our love for singing, they always told us that you go forward. Always go forward. Years ago, as that same teenager, my uncles passed away, and we had to sing. And I had to lead, and I didn't understand. And so when we got done, I asked my mentor, my teacher, that's my uncle. How come I have to lead? It hurts. So he told me, he said, you don't live that way. You have to be strong. You have to sing strong so your relatives can mourn. So one day you're going to be a man. You have to be a man and you have to stand strong. So how do you mourn? You go home and do that. You go home and mourn. You go home and cry. You're a man, but you still got to cry. So you make sure you take care of your tears at home. So when you come in front of the people, you're going to be strong. Those are some of the things that we learned. And to carry the drum now, we have to be strong. We have to continue to move forward. And that's what we do as men. So learning this ways of this drum, and there's so much more that goes to this. And it's not something that we can teach out here. If you want to learn, you have to come here. I don't record songs for people. If I have a song that you want to learn, you got to come sit down and sing it. You have to learn what it means, how to use it, when to use it, who to use it for. Those are things that they taught us and shared that with us. So now, today, our mentors and teachers are gone. So I always try to remember them when it comes to these types of deals and share just as little bit with an audience. But if they really want to learn, they have to be like me and sit down at the drum. And being in this drum, there's a healing to it. And that's why we be strong. We don't misuse this. Because I can say in my life, this drum was there for me at a time in my life that I needed it the most. I have been almost 30 years drug and alcohol free because of this drum. And I'm proud to say that I've been an everyday dad to my two sons every day of their life. Both of my sons sing and dance because that's the only life I know. So, in other words, I'm kind of a boring guy. I just sing. But I love this way of life, and I'm glad that I have this drum in my life. And it gives me a way of life for my family. My wife, she's a former dancer. She has never touched my drum, even if it's in her way, which I try not to make it be. She has never touched my drum because she can't. She understands that. We have a lot of communication. And I learned that from the drum, being around the drum. So those are things that I learned. I wanted to say that I want to say thank you for listening to me, and I hope I shed some light a little bit about singers. There's a lot of stories you don't probably shouldn't hear from this group here. Hey, every group that you see, Whitney probably has some too. So when you see a group of guys sitting around the drum, just kind of keep your distance. Hey, you might hear some things you shouldn't hear. But songs also. We're going to share a song, what they call a drum keeper's song. There's different kinds of songs for drum singers. You have a singer song, but you have a drum keeper song. And that has a lot of responsibility to that, to be that person. And so you only sing certain songs at certain times, but as a demonstration of this, we have what we call a drum keeper song, and only for him. You have a singer song that honors all the singers. Then you have drum song. And then other types of songs that goes with it. I can stand up here and talk all night, so I'm going to cut it right there. So, hey, but we're going to share that song. Hetchetulip.
Watch it up. And right after this, Koda, we're also going to ask you to sing a song for the Eagle Feather staff we have here that we're going to be bringing up. So after this song, we'll go to that song. So, and also no pictures or video, please, friends and relatives. No pictures or videos. Thank you, Creekside Singers, for that song. And at this